Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is Wednesday, so that means it's time for a midweek peek video. In today's midweek peek video, I'll be sharing with you a mini book haul that I did this month, and also I'll be sharing with you where I am with my current reading for the month. So having set the tone, let's roll the intro and get on with it. If you don't know me already, my name is Angela, your own Bookaholic Brownin, and in this channel we talk about books, and books. So if you have any Bookaholic friends, please don't hesitate from sharing this channel with them. And if you like the bookish contents that I put out, please do not hesitate from liking and subscribing to my channel. In the beginning of this year, I had decided that I should buy less and less books because I have such a huge TBR mount actually lying in my house. In my bookshelf video, you would have seen the number of books that I have left unread. But as usual, as most of you, I couldn't resist from buying more books. But this time I tried to rein in my urge to buy more books, so I didn't buy too many books. Let me count: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books, of which one I have already finished reading, so I'm proud about that. So it's not going to the TBR mount. The first book that I want to talk to you about, which I bought, is something which is hugely popular right now, and everybody is talking about this book. This is a science fiction book written by Angie, and it is called Project Hail Mary. I don't know if you can see it. It has a very beautiful cover. If you don't know this author, he is the same person who wrote The Martian, based on which the movie was made. I didn't know the premise of this book until I bought this, and I read the synopsis at the end. Let me read it out for you. I think somebody is fighting outside. Okay, so Ryland Grace is a sole survivor on a desperate last chance mission, and if he fails, humanity and the earth itself will perish. Except that right now he doesn't know that. He can't even remember his own name, let alone the nature of his assignment or how to complete it. All he knows is that he's been asleep for a very, very long time, and he's just been awakened to find himself millions of miles from home with nothing but 2 corpses for company. His crewmates dead, his memories fuzzily returning. Ryland realizes that an impossible task now confronts him. Hurtling through space on this tiny ship, it's up to him to puzzle out an impossible scientific mystery and conquer an extinction level threat to our species. And with the clock ticking down and the nearest human being light years away, he has to do it all alone. Or does he? There are so many blurbs from George R. R. Martin, from Brandon Sanderson, from Blake Crouch, and this comes highly recommended from my sweet, sweet, sweet Discord fam. So definitely high up on my TBR pile. So if you hear any snoring, that would be one of my dogs, because both of them in this room right now are experts in snoring. Like, they can wake you up from deep sleep. That's how loud they snore. So excuse me in case it happens. Next book I want to show you is from one of my favorite science writer. He is a non-fiction writer, he's a scientist, he's a biologist. He is the man credited with coming up the word meme in his book, The Selfish Gene, I think. Yeah. You would have guessed it. Yes, it is Richard Dawkins. So I recently watched a video on Neil deGrasse Tyson's YouTube channel, The Star Talk. In that episode, Richard Dawkins was the guest, and they were talking about his recent book. Of course, I went and bought the book, which is Books Do Furnish a Life: Reading and Writing Science by Richard Dawkins. It is a collection of Dawkins writing about the literature of science, bringing together his forewords, afterwords, and introductions to the work of some of the leading thinkers of our age: Carl Sagan, Lawrence Krauss, Jacob Bronowski, and Louis Volpert, among many others, and a selection of his reviews, both admiring and critical. This is a glorious celebration of science writing, both fiction and non-fiction. So this is my non-fiction book for this month. Professor Richard Dawkins has had such an influence in my life and the path that I took towards rationalism and atheism. So I really love his book, The God Delusion. It's one of my favorite books. I think I have almost all of the books that he has ever written. Then this is the latest one and I just had to have it. Next is a book that I had shared in my Pride Month recommendations video. If you haven't watched it, check it out because there are interesting Pride Month book recommendations from my side which are written by Indian authors, so you gotta check them out. They are excellent. In that video I had promised that for Pride Month I will be reading a book by Amrita Patel which is Curry, and of course I kept up my promise. I haven't read it yet but I ordered it. I received it yesterday and you can see, as I said, it is a graphic novel. She is India's first graphic novelist, you can call her. So I actually read around how many pages? 12 pages. It's interesting, the plot and the story and the illustrations, bold and evocative. And because this is a book that is recommended for Pride Month, you can expect LGBTQ representation in this. That was Curry by Amrita Patel. I'm a sucker for thriller mysteries, and for my mystery genre this time I picked up a Japanese novel which is called The Inugami Curse by Seishi Yoko Mizo. It's a classic Japanese murder mystery. I don't know what the cover means, but it has a very classic touch to it, vintage touch to the cover. The Inugami Curse. The story of this book is based in 1940s Japan. We follow the story of this wealthy family called Inugami clan, and its patriarch, the wealthy head of the family, is in his sickbed. He writes his will and eventually he dies. And when the details of the will comes out, it is shocking to everybody because it's bizarre in its detail. And after that, some gruesome murders happen and there is this detective who is sent to investigate this case, and that's what this book is all about. Sounds like a very vintage classic kind of a murder mystery, so it will be fun to read this. I will let you know how this goes. The next book in my list is a non-fiction book. It is a very small book, just 120 pages in total. This is a book by Gail Omway called Understanding Caste from Buddha to Ambedkar and Beyond. There are not very many conversation about caste in itself in India which happens in the mainstream, and most of the times when the caste is discussed as a subject is when the question of reservations arrive, and other times when the situation is calm, nobody talks about it much. Most of the times it's only when there is a conflicting conversation, that's when caste is talked about, but it's never talked about as a social issue that we need to analyze from the root cause and understand, how the current prevalence and the depth and the root of this social issue in our society. I do know that there are caste social reformers who are working on it, but I'm talking about bringing in the mainstream conversation about caste. We are far behind that. Something like Black Lives Matter, because everybody talks about that. LGBTQ rights, everybody talks about it. We own that issue and we make sure that there is representation in literature, in art forms, in our movies. That's what we try to do when it comes to those matters like Black Lives Matters and LGBTQ issues, etc. But when it comes to caste, I think the Indian society is not that open about it, and we do not speak about it much. The oppressed do speak about it. A dialogue between the oppressed and oppressor, where the oppressor understand that there is an issue like this, and even though I myself individually am not contributing to it because I don't believe in caste system, but this is a social issue that is prevalent, and that acceptance and realization, and then from there finding a solution towards it, that's when the society will move forward. There needs to be productive, constructive conversations that needs to happen in the mainstream, especially with the social scientists and political observers, together with representatives from these oppressed classes. For the people from the privileged caste who are sympathizers to the cause of the oppressed, the first step is to acknowledge that there is an issue, and the second step is that they understand the issue, and the the best way to understand the issue is to read about the issue. And as I see that there are a lot of writings by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and the likes of him, but I think that there should be more and more writers from the current society who write comprehensively on this issue, and that is lacking. But as my part of understanding this grave issue that is plaguing our country even to this century, I decided that I should read some books that is related to caste. As part of that resolution, I have picked up this book. uh, yeah, I heard very good things about this book. The only sad thing is it's very small book. It's hardly 100 pages. Yeah, I think it's 100 pages, including index. It's 124 pages. I really wish there is much more bulkier, comprehensive material available very soon. Let's hope so. So this is Understanding Caste by Gail Ombate. Last but not least, I have two books, book one and book two of the most epic fantasy series out there, which is the Malazan series. I have bought The Gardens of the Moon and Dead House Gates. I'm almost done with Gardens of the Moon. I have just about 9% left in the book. So when I started being active in the booktube community and in Discord book community, what I noticed was that every fantasy reader recommends the Malazan book series by Steven Erikson, and I was quite intrigued, so I decided I will read it. It's 10 books. Each book is around like 600 to 900 pages, so it's a huge commitment that I'm undertaking this year when I decided that I will read this. And luckily I got one of my colleagues to buddy read it with me, so we are buddy reading it. Thanks Anupam for that. And so what I did was, I wasn't sure whether I will continue this book or not, so I wanted to get the flavor of the book. So what I did is I bought the Kindle version first because it was cheaper. When I was 50% of the book, I was quite sure that I was definitely going to read the rest of the 9 books plus the other books by Ian Esselmont, who is the co-author or co-creator of this Malazan empire or Malazan world or the Malazan universe. You can see how huge these 2 books are, but I don't regret it. I really enjoyed it. I will be doing a review of Gardens of the Moon as a Malazan virgin. I don't know how that will go, but yeah, I will definitely do a review about it because I'm just loving this book so much, and I am beating myself up for not reading it sooner. So that was my mini book haul. Next part of the video is where I update you on what I'm reading currently. So I finished only 2 books till now. I'm really embarrassed in admitting that, but yeah, that's how it is because there were some situations which I couldn't avoid and they dragged on, and I had a lot of things to do at work as well. But I finished 2 thrillers. One is The Thinnest Air by Minka Kent and the other is Duplicity by Sibyl Hodge. I loved both the books really well, but I think I loved Duplicity better. If you do get a chance, read it, listen to it, whatever, but it is a nice thriller. Then currently, like I said earlier, I am reading Malazan, Book of the Fallen, Book 1, Gardens of the Moon. I have around 9% left in the book. I think I'll finish it today. And then I will start second book in the series, Dead House Gates. I can't just wait to do that. And also I have started a thriller by the same author of Duplicity, and that book is called Untouchable by Sibyl Hodge. And I also will be reading The Inugami Curse, like I said earlier, the Japanese murder mystery. So yeah, that's my plan for this one. Let's see how far I can get through with all these. That's it guys, that's the end of this video. I hope you liked it. Please like, share and subscribe, to not forget, and please be back for my next video. Until then, this is Angela signing off. Bye bye.